From Careco TV, one of the longest running outdoor programs on television today. Exploring the country and the coast in search of adventures. From the mountains of the great Northwest to the shores of the Atlantic Ocean. This is Americana Outdoors, presented by Garmin. This week on Americana Outdoors, it's all about the fun and thrilling adventures that come with turkey hunting. We all know how excited Wade gets when he talks turkey, so without further ado, we'll turn the mic over to him and sit back and enjoy the ride.
And when it comes to turkey hunting, I absolutely love it. It's been a lifelong passion of mine. And in fact, I get really pretty torn up in the spring because the bass are generally up shallow spawning when the turkeys start gobbling. So I get pulled a lot of different ways. But when the turkeys are gobbling, I've got to say it's one of the most exciting things that we get out and get to do. Whether you're choosing to run and gun or you're choosing to, set up in ambush zones, regardless, it's going to be fun when it comes to turkey hunting. The means and methods of turkey hunting, you've got a lot of options out there. Guys are hunting them with compound bows, they're hunting them with crossbows, they're hunting them with shotguns of different sizes, and there's different configurations within the shotgun choices out there for aiming scenarios. There's so many different hunting styles. You're gonna have one guy that's gonna sit there and say, man, we need to run and gun. We're gonna jump in our side-by-sides. We're gonna cover as much ground as we can. We're gonna get aggressive with the calls. And you're gonna have another guy that's wanna key on sliding in close to that roost and dialing those turkeys in to get them when they first come down and they're all strutting. And it doesn't matter which way you go because they're all fun in my opinion. But for me personally, some of the things that I really like about turkey hunting is that interaction with the bird. I love the calling aspect. It's about trying to communicate with what the turkeys are doing at that time. I like to try to mimic what the hens are doing, what the toms are doing. I like to let them tell me what I need to do. Is it a day that I feel like I can run and gun and cover a lot of ground and find a real active gobbler? Or is it a day when I need to be a little more patient and actually kind of wait them out? This particular turkey hunt that we're really highlighting on this show, it was about waiting them out. We were hunting not too far from the roost. There's actually 3 or 4 different groups of birds roosting nearby. I spent a lot of time communicating with the hens, and I think that keeps toms interested that are in the area because I knew there were toms all around me the entire time we were there hunting. They just wasn't necessarily coming in and committing. So it was just about being patient and waiting them out a lot of times, and the communications with the hens and everything else that's coming in, that makes it fun.
An important factor to consider when turkey hunting is what sights you're using. Here's Wade's thoughts on choosing sights and what he personally looks for to get the best shot placement possible.
When it comes to choosing a site to turkey hunt with, there's a lot of options on the market, and I encourage people to find the one that's going to fit them the best. For me, I like to be able to see the site in low light conditions. A lot of turkey hunts, you're hunting in the shadows, hunting in the shade of trees, you're hunting in the early morning or late evening hours, and I highly encourage you to get in the shadows as much as you can. Darkness is going to help hide your movements from a turkey. So when it comes to picking a site, what you're trying to look at is, you've got the head of that bird bobbing and weaving through the brush. What's he going to be doing while he's out there? If he's a nervous bird, I really like something like this Tri-Vis to be able to help me pick the bird out very fast. With the Tri-Vis, you've got 2 little light pipes that come in on the side on this part of the site right here that's going to help you line everything up with your light pipe on the end. And what you're looking at, and you can even see it in some of the footage that we've shot, whether we're on the range or whether we're on a hunt, you're basically looking at how bright that sight is to help you acquire that target very fast. What you're trying to do is put those light pipes right on that turkey's head, so when you pull the trigger, you're knocking him down right there.
We're almost ready to hit the field and see the high-vis, Tri-Vis sight in action. But as always, it's important to spend some time on the range and sight in your hunting platform.
That's a dead one. I mean, look at all the pellets in his brain right there. So feeling good about the sight picture of what we're looking at with that high-vis sight. Feeling good about the pattern, feeling good about the choke. Now it's just about getting those turkeys to get out there and participate. I mean, that bird there, he's not even flopping anymore. He's done. He's fried. He's ready for dinner.
When we come back, we'll hit the field with Wade for a springtime turkey hunt.
You always hope for the buck of a lifetime. When it comes, will you be ready? 0.
Welcome back to Americana Outdoors, presented by Garmin.
You know, turkey hunting, as we've said, there's so many people that get excited about it, and it can be 2 or 3 days of absolute boredom for 10 seconds of excitement when one finally commits. I believe probably more turkeys are killed by patience and woodmanship and understanding the scenario that's going on ever than just strictly calling one in. If you'll spend time understanding that this is where a turkey wants to be, this is why he wants to be in there, and if you can find a way to get into that area, not mess that bird up, and not change his pattern, you've got a great chance of killing that bird.
Over there about 10 o'clock, Kevin. I don't know if that's that hen or not. Looks like a bigger bird. It kind of was a yawning, it was an exciting turkey hunt, but as you can tell, I yawned a lot right there. We had birds gobbling all the way around us, and we're like in this little oasis for turkeys. I mean, it is like desperately dry in Texas right now. I mean, look at that, that's just ridiculous. But we got a little bit of a water overflow from this cistern. I mean, they're gonna come here. It's windy, it's hot, but we're turkey hunting, so that makes it fun. I don't see a need to try to chase them right now, so we're gonna build some ground blinds, got some fresh mesquite, and kind of hide in here. And half the fun to me is building a blind and trying to figure them out, and then figuring out what the birds want to do, where they want to strut, where they want to gobble, what they want to do. So we're gonna see what we can't figure out, and maybe we'll get lucky.
While Wade starts setting up for his afternoon hunt, here's some insight on different turkey calls and how to pick the right one for your hunting needs.
When you look at the Bass Pro Shops website, there's 250 different calls for sale. How do you figure out which one's gonna be perfect for you? And I'll tell you, based on my experience, that every day is different when it comes to turkey calls. And so that's why I've always encouraged people to spend time learning and practicing with all the different calls. So as we break down turkey calls, let's look at some of the different options that you have available. The old box call. The box call comes in a variety of sizes. It's easier to use than probably the other calls that we're going to talk about. A nice rhythmic motion back and forth with them will generate the sounds that you're looking for. And there's a lot of different tricks and tips that you can build into it as you become more experienced with them. But most all turkey calls right on the back are going to give you directions on what you need to do to make the basic sounds out there. So when you start looking at box calls, like I said, you look at the Bass Pro Shops website, there's a variety of them that you can pick and choose from that are going to help you be successful. Now let's move on to a mouth call, a diaphragm call. This is probably one of the harder calls for a lot of people to use. For me personally, it's the most difficult one. And when I get one that works perfectly, I protect that like it's a $100 bill. In fact, it's probably worth a $1,000 bill when I get one tuned, and that would be the same for a lot of guys out there. Just understand, you've got to trim these, you've got to find the ones that particularly work for you and fit for you. Next up is the slate call. As you get into slate calls, you're basically looking at ways to tune them, to set them up so that they're going to be prepared for what you're going to look at doing. And I often will carry 2 or 3 different slate calls because each one of them, based on the striker and the composition of the call, has a different tone. And at different times of the year, they tend to respond to one or the other in a different manner. But this is a call that I love to use when they're up close. And basically, when I'm doing that, I like to have a conversation with the hens. If there's a hen out there, I want to mimic what she's saying. If I hear her doing one sound, I want to do the exact same sound back, and it will help me be successful in bringing some toms around. So don't just necessarily think when it comes to calling turkeys, you have to limit it to trying to attract the toms. If you can get the hens in, you can have a party and have a conversation with those hens. Those toms often are not far behind.
Well, coming up, Wade is surrounded by turkeys. But will one of these impressive Rios give him a shot opportunity? Find out after the break.
High-vis sights are forged to be the brightest and most durable sights, no matter where you are. In the home, on the range, during competition, or out in the field. See what you've been missing with high-vis.
Welcome back to Americana Outdoors, presented by Garmin.
All right, let's get some decoys out. You know, what I've learned over the years of hunting in Texas, on these season days when it's real hot and real windy, you know, you just got to kind of wait them out by water sources, and that's what we're going to sit here and do, is get kind of settled in and see what we can make happen. Maybe we'll get lucky. There's 2, 3 more of them. See them? They're all just running across the pasture. Oh, there's one tom back there. Very, very back. He's strutting.
You can sit for hours and nothing go on, and then the whole world come to life. That's a big old tom right there. We had some coming in behind us, and I was trying to talk to them. We were having a little bit of hen conversation, and I mean, it's like the floodgate opened up, and there's 15, 20 hens coming through. Big old toms out there strutting. There was 3, 4 more there, and he was blowing up. I know Kevin saw him better than I did. When I turned around, it was like Black Friday shopping when they opened it up, and there's a great sale going on at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, and every turkey in the county starts coming running in, and we had our hens and toms, and I mean, that is a jammer. I mean, a jammer of a tom right there. Turkey hunting's supposed to be fun. Today was a little bit like deer hunting, but we smoked a big one, and there at the end, you had I mean, we had 5 toms up here you can never see, 2 or 3 other toms working here, and then at the end, they were all coming around through here playing and getting after it, and some of them went in there with the cattle. I'm like, daggum, and then the floodgates opened and all of these guys came running in. That was awesome. I bet there was 20 hens. Wow. Big old bird. Look at the big old spurs on that thing right there. Look at that sucker. Look at the spurs on that big old Rio right there. I mean, thank you, buddy. Man, oh man, what a tom. What a tom. Holy cow. I mean, this bird is gorgeous. Thank you, Big Tom. Oh man, that's a jammer. You know, turkey hunting to me is just, there's so many different things about it, whether you're setting up, running, gunning like we like to, or you're ambushing them in the afternoons when things are slow. You know, we got 20-mile-an-hour winds right now, and Bluebird Day. It's been a tough turkey season, really, by all accounts. Everybody I talk to is really, you know, having a hard time getting them to gobble, but when it goes together, it's just the most incredible, fast-paced thing, and bam, it's done, and that's what we got here. We're gonna get this guy tagged, get out of here, let these birds get to roost. They're roosting 200 or 300 yards down there, and we'll let them have their space.
Congratulations, Wade. That's one awesome-looking Rio. When we come back, we'll take an in-depth look at all the gear we used in the field today.
There's only room for one at the top. With speeds of 505 feet per second, the Nitro 505 is the fastest crossbow in the world. 10-point, defining crossbow precision for over 25 years.
From sun up to sundown, day in and day out, we work hard. We play hard. And to keep us going during those long hours, we demand performance. Angle Coolers, the original high-performance cooler. Welcome back to Americana Outdoors, presented by Garmin.
You know, this is a lot of the stuff that we actually use straight from the field on that trip that we just did. And I mean, what a cool hunt. Sitting on that little water hole, there was a little pond over here that was the reason why that well is actually there for the cattle. But the actual big cistern right there had holes in it, so there was some water that was leaking out. And there's no other water around that I know of in that area. And the turkeys were gobbling in there, the hogs were in there. We saw cyca deer and axis deer and skunks and armadillos. I don't know what all we saw. It was pretty cool. But this is all the stuff that we kind of had set up out there. And as I look at it, you know, I look at decoys. I have a love-hate relationship with decoys. There's times I think that they are the difference maker, and there are times I think they spook them. In this case, I think they were a huge difference maker. We did move them around a couple times while we were out there, but I had like 3 hens and a jake set up just like they were watering. If you notice in the hunt, we had lots of turkeys come in and do the exact same thing. For me, about being comfortable, you know, I was using this Cabela's lounging chair right here that has pockets on the side, very comfortable, easy to set in. We sat probably, I don't know, a total of 5 or 6 hours on this hunt while we were there on the 2 different hunts. That's hard to do if you're just sitting on a cushion on your butt up against an old mesquite tree. There's not a lot of comfort, so I think that was a huge huge aspect. The shotgun, I was shooting a 12 gauge with 3-inch 5s on that particular hunt. I didn't shoot any special high-end tungsten load, just a straight $13, $14 box of shells. Really had the high-vis, tri-vis sight, really liked it. You can see in the video, I had a GoPro over my shoulder, and I mean, it's like the coolest shot. You can see the sights lined up. That bird stretches out, and I mean, he pounded it. I don't know, it's probably a 35 to 45 yard shot. I actually never ranged it right there. And the other things while I was sitting there hunting, man, the box calls just wasn't the deal on that particular hunt. It ended up being the slates. I was softly calling 90% of the time. A lot of conversations with hens, which is something I absolutely love. A lot of early gobbling from the toms out there, and then they got kind of quiet. But I always knew they were in the area. I knew the area well enough to know that was what was going on. And when it came time for the shot, you can see I had a pair of shooting sticks right here, and I like this type of shooting stick right here in that particular situation. It makes it easy for me to balance the gun, less movement when it comes time to shoot, steady as a rock, hammered him down. And I had already kind of known my pattern would really perform there. But the final thing for me there was the first time I had used this particular setup. Now I had Strata camo, which is something I wear all the time for true timber, but this little hoodie, it's a lightweight hoodie that has a built-in mask right here to it, and I could pull the hood over the top of my hat, and this was my face mask. Now I've worn a face mask all the time when I turkey hunt. I cover everything up when I turkey hunt except my hands because I can't call as good with my hands covered up wearing gloves. But in this case here, I really like this little setup right here. It's lightweight. I didn't have to have a mask on. I didn't feel that irritation of having a mask on that some people don't like. I was able to kind of really go back in there. My wife said I looked like a frog. I'm not sure whether that was a compliment or a little bit of a diss, but this is something I think for a lot of you turkey hunters that I really found is pretty neat. So that's just some of the tools. I mean, like I said, these are straight from the hunt. They're all still dirty from being out there in the dust. And at the end of the day, that is one of the coolest turkey hunts that I've been on for all the communication and all the talking we had with everything that was moving around us. When the bird went down, we were all pretty excited. We had multiple angles of it. And I tell you, that's gonna be a bird that I'm actually getting mounted. I've always wanted to get a big Rio, and that's one that when you look at the pictures and look at the end of the hunt, pretty special, and we're gonna have that one on the wall.
Congratulations once again, Wade. This giant Rio Grande turkey is gonna look magnificent on your wall. For all the rest of you hunters out there, take it from Wade. Turkey hunting can be some of the most exciting hunting you can take part in. If you find the gear that works best for you and learn how to read the turkey's body language, well, you'll set yourself up for some good eats and some even greater memories. Hey, thank you for watching, and join us next week on a new episode of Americana Outdoors. Americana Outdoors is a Careco TV production. This episode was made possible by these partners.
Sometimes the world can seem a cold place, so we gotta bring the warmth to it. Sometimes the world can seem a dark place, so we gotta become the light in it. Sometimes the world can seem a broken place, so we gotta strive to fix it. We prepare for the worst, but we must always expect the best.
God made a deer farmer, a person who stays up at night to save a sick fawn's life, gets up and still goes to work at sunrise. This person works in the heat, the cold, and the rain. He needs to feed his animals, make sure they have water. If the water's frozen, he must break it so they can drink. He needed somebody to collect real scents and smells from deer, to provide hunting scents to the hunters so they could feed their families. So, God made a deer farmer.
Unlock your buck's full genetic potential with Record Rack Sportsman Premium Deer Feed with all the vitamins and minerals to support healthy body weight and antler growth. You're not just feeding your deer, you're feeding them better. Learn more at recordrack.com.